Hello! It is Sun in Aquarius season. Where to begin? So I think first and foremost, we've shifted from Capricorn to Aquarius. This energy is still ruled by Saturn, so still focused on serious purpose, serious accomplishments, how to set goals that are really meaningful. And especially right now, we're looking at the long-term goals of our lives, the vaster visions. But what's nice is we're a bit more optimistic now. Even though we're still on the cusp with the Capricorn energy, and Venus is in Cap, Mars is about to go into Cap. The shift from Capricorn to Aquarius every year is when we take all of the real seriousness of the previous 30 days of that Capricorn season and then shift it into the focus of, okay, I get it, this is what I've been working on, but now I'm going to take it to the next level of this is how I make even more progress, or maybe I already accomplished a lot with the previous 30 days. Now what do I accomplish with the next 30 days? So a little bit of optimism, actually a lot of optimism, and a sense of not just the present and the past, which is where Capricorn's focused, but the present and the future. A little bit of the past as well, especially with Mercury retrograde and whatnot. But this is a really great time to be focused on the future, building our minds, building our information. I think one of the big things for this season is because Saturn is in Aquarius as well, and Mercury as well at the time of this video, it's really good to just embrace the Saturn energy head on, to just stay focused on, okay, what are my goals? Let's keep that as the main priority. Yes, we know that Mars is in Sagittarius for a couple more days, and that's keeping things a little bit more on the fun side. There's other really good stuff that's going on that's really helpful as per the spiritual energy of Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, and that's really great as well. We'll get into that as time goes on, but this season we have so much Saturn energy. We have not only an outer planet of Saturn in Aquarius, the Saturn energy, but we also have Venus in a Saturn energy retrograde, and Mars about to join, not to mention Mercury as well. So in short, for all of us, we have some serious goals that we need to stay focused on. And I think a big thing is, especially now that Sun and Saturn are both in Aquarius, that realm of space known as Aquarius, and is going to be increasingly conjunct over the next 2 weeks and even the 2 weeks after that, but especially in about 2 weeks time, we need to be focused on embracing the pressure that we feel to build ourselves to another level. Saturn's been in Aquarius for about a year now solidly, so we've all had this focus of long-term vision, especially since Jupiter was in Aquarius last year too. So we've had this focus of, what are my long-term goals, my long-term vision? And if not, then it's time to really get into it. And it's nice because Mercury is retrograde, so even though there is this pressure, there is a sense of working with the past really effectively as well, reviewing past information, learning from our mistakes in the past to be able to focus on the present, to grow into the future all the more so. So however exactly this is manifesting for you, the key is to embrace the pressure, but again, we don't wish to rush forward. Whenever Mercury is retrograde, or when any astronomical body is retrograde, we're going backwards to move forward. It's like with Venus in retrograde in Capricorn, this focus has been for the last about month now on going backwards in terms of relationships to go forward. We're reviewing what relationships are really good for us, what we need to maybe revisit, even for the good relationships that are going to help us move forward, or rather that are going to, help us move forward, but also we're going to move forward with in the next chapter of our lives when Venus goes direct on January 29th. Even with those, especially with those relationships, anything that's going to last, we're really looking at and focusing on to make sure that it's serving our highest interest. So that's really important to keep in mind. Again, we have these pressures, and it's good to embrace them, but we want to be patient too. And again, we want to enjoy the process. It helps that it's going into Aquarius, but at the same time, Sun in Aquarius is a bit of a rough energy in ways that Sun in Capricorn isn't. So it's really important to make sure that we don't become cold, that we don't become distant from our own selves, our own egos. I have sun in the house of Aquarius myself. I was born to two Aquarians, so I'm very familiar with this energy from personal experience, especially within myself. Having sun in the house of Aquarius is basically the same thing as sun in Aquarius. And I did a reading the other day for an Aquarian friend, and something really beautiful came about talking about sun and Aquarius energy. And this is an energy that we are now all experiencing. Even though we all have our natal energies, this is like a clothing that we're putting on for this time period, and it is a part of us. It's a part of all of what we're experiencing as per consciousness here on this planet. And so what I wrote in that reading was that Aquarius energy, sun in Aquarius specifically, is tasked with the challenge of finding the love and the warmth and the heat of the sun, which is, of course, God's love, the universe's love, cosmic consciousness, our higher self's love. Aquarius energy is tasked with finding love out in the self-love, love in general, out in the absolute void of space, where there is very little connection with other people, where we have to form on our own. And I, like so many others, even in a really healthy familial dynamic, every Aquarian or sun in the house of Aquarian individual has to form independently of everything and everyone else, because one way or another, that is what they are just tasked to do in this lifetime. That is how we are meant to grow, just as we all are meant to grow in our own ways. So this is a challenge. This is a rough energy in a certain way. Indeed, out of all of the sun energies, it is the roughest, but there's no such thing as a bad energy. They're all equal in gift and challenge. So the great gift of this time is in facing our challenge, as per Saturn, whatever that pressure might be, we can come to know ourselves more than ever. We can form independently more than ever. If we strive to not give up hope and not just dissociate and not become cold to ourselves and others, then we can make a lot of incredible understanding and insights and findings into who we are as individuals. I think that's my favorite thing about Aquarius energy, is we get to, wolf energy is very closely connected to Aquarius. So I have a wolf tattooed on my chest here. Aquarius is the lone wolf, and it is absolutely one with the pack. We go off on our own into the cold night in the northern hemisphere of winter, and even if we're born on the southern hemisphere, this still applies to Aquarian energy. And we are meant to find our own way. We are meant to understand who we are, and we realize that even in the vastness, the vacuum, the coldness of space, there is still love. You still see stars, and indeed, you're just as much a part of those stars, even if you're in tune with that vacuum. So I really encourage you to observe yourself. That's one of the best things about Sun in Aquarius. It's always a great time to get a reading if you have any inclination towards getting a reading, but Aquarius energy in so many ways is astrology. It's a psychological observation as per astronomical hard science. It's like the two main things that Aquarius loves is humanities, social studies, and science, the hard science, the soft and the hard science. So come get a reading. It's a great time, especially if you've gotten a reading with me before. This is a great time for a checkup because Mercury is retrograde. So come say hi and we'll schedule you right away. Even if you're interested in you've never had a reading from anybody, come get a reading. I specialize, I've helped so many people with their first time readings. It's such an honor, such a privilege. And I love reading for anybody who's just open, whether you have questions or not. If you have questions, all the better. If honestly, either way, all the better. But now is a really great time to come get a reading, because all this Aquarius energy for all of us is beautiful for psychological observation. Out of all the different energies, again, there's something about being in the vacuum of space stuck on your own. And again, we're all going to be feeling this to some extent. Both the lone wolf as well as the other part of the Aquarian energy, which is focusing on connecting with the pack, connecting with the collective of humanity. Individual and collective are key themes for Aquarius energy. So we are all growing now. It is the season of Aquarius. Again, I can't recommend enough. Come get a reading from somebody who knows exactly how this energy functions all year round. But I think, for all of us, this is a really great time, again, to grow intellectually. I think a key thing with Mercury being retrograde in Aquarius, as it has been for the last week or so, and it will be for about the next week or so. Even when it goes into Capricorn, this is really great. But, I'm rereading Huck Finn, The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And I read it last, I didn't read back then, Cliff Notes, but I'm actually reading it this time. And the last time I read it was maybe like, I don't even know, 15 years ago, back in high school. So that's something that's really cool about Mercury retrograde, especially with Aquarius, is again reviewing past information and being able to really dive into it and understanding the meaning. And it's really been inspiring me because, as you all know, I've been writing for the last several years, and after I finish all of this nonfiction astrological work and even starting into the MBTI types as well, of course I'll always be writing about astrology and MBTI, but I really want to get into fiction too. So this is the last thing I want to say for today. This is a beautiful time to look backwards, like we were saying, but again, it's also a great time to look forward and get ideas for the future, especially with Sun, Mercury, and Saturn all being in Aquarius right now, and Mercury being retrograde. We can uncover past stones and remember our history, because I've wanted to be a writer ever since I was very young, and especially when I was about 16. So this is something else I want to do on the side, another part-time job in my future. But it's what's really beautiful is we can understand our past during this time, and we can also get a really great understanding of where we are now and where we're going in the future. So even though I won't write fiction for another 5 years or so, majorly, it's a really lovely time. So for all of us, this is what is on offer for us. One last thing, we'll get into, the Pisces energy is happening. It's lovely. Trust your intuition, trust your subconscious. Oh, one last thing I wanted to say before we get into the other last thing is, and I'll mention this in the next transit as well, but, I did a reading for a friend yesterday, and we covered meditation. She wanted to learn how to meditate, and I realized during that meditation of, wow, as much as I talk about meditation, I don't focus on consciously offering that to individuals. And I know that a lot of people would really benefit and really love to get a little bit of guidance to understand how to meditate. I've been meditating for so long now, and I always love the opportunity to talk about meditating and to practice with other individuals, and it's also a great tool to be able to understand our subconscious more and to connect with the super consciousness of God. There's so much good stuff to it. So I really recommend, if ever you're interested, now especially, but always really in general especially, to focus on meditation. We can do that because I love doing that. Last thing. So transiting moon is in Virgo. The beginning of the Sun in Aquarius season for this year is very, when it comes to the moon, very grounded, very focused on the details, focused on cleaning, focused on physical well-being. I think because we have so many ideas at this time, and because we can be so focused on the future as well as maybe the past as well, don't be too hard on yourself about your body. Don't be too hard on yourself about the cleanliness of your environment or anything in the physical realm. Usually has to do with the body though, or the immediate environment, or your skills as well, because of that moon in Virgo. So just focus on, okay, what is it that I want to work on for the next lunar cycle until the next time the moon is in Virgo. And that's my focus. Instead of going, oh, I'm not here, I'm not this, I'm too much this, I'm not enough that, whatever it might be. Don't be too hard on yourself. It can be really easy to get caught in our heads and then just focus on what isn't, instead of focusing on, okay, this is a reminder that I need to improve this, so I will focus on that, and I will improve that over the next month, over the next year, etc. And I think the last thing is, with the moon in Virgo, it's great to, as much as it's great to have ideas for what we want to do, it is a great time to just go ahead and jump in and do it as well. This is a time that focuses on making sure that real world, right now, tangible progress is being made. So we have this for another about day and a half or so. So for especially Friday and the first basically half of Saturday, it's good to really buckle down and just clean, work out, meditate, develop and learn But again, a lot of it comes down to the body. So I think the cleaning is going to be a big thing. Yeah. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. As always, I'm doing readings, info in the description. Peace.